Hey guys, this is my final presentation for digital illustration. Like I said, I'm going to be talking about the strength, weaknesses that I have for this class and what I learned overall from the semester. And we'll see. Okay, content. And this is my digital sketches. So basically, for this section for our exercises before we start doing our projects, we did our traditional sketches for picking out like our three. Doesn't matter if it was like objects, characters, anything like that. So my three objects. So the first one was like a clown that I did, like a cartoon clown. Second, it was just like uh, a woman that I just kind of like add more uh, attractive features to, and I just did like a garden. Um, I really like how everything just came out, like the details and stuff with some of them. But I'll be talking about also the issues that I honestly struggle with. With that, these are all finished progress that I done with them. So for the clown, my instructor has mentioned is mostly it's just kind of like cropping it out with this. Here, let me just show you. Like with this though, I would say mostly. Um, I think that's all it is, but I just did that for the woman though too, which is fine. But honestly, it's just some of the contrast with some, like for example, like the hair, I kind of struggled with a little bit though. But honestly, I captured some of the nice details with some of them. Like I said, with the lighting, the shadows, I actually executed pretty well with. Even adding like the little ornaments to some of them, like the hearts, I actually feel a lot confident with. So yeah, I like how I just did like the details of the cheek and stuff like that. But trying to digging into a bit more, kind of like trying to get more into more mastery progress, if that makes sense. Um, for the garden right here, I would say honestly the way I did the color the way I did the photo, it's all right, I guess, but I would say the background overall just feels a little bit off than what is from the photo. So, from what my previous feedback from this, what my instructor had given me is do the gradient for the adjustments layers and kind of draw on it instead of just making it for a lot more harder myself to redo it on these photos digitally. So I just kind of went with it. And for the background, I wasn't like too sure on what I was doing for it. So I was like, you know what? I'll probably just sketch it like from hand, just like whatever though. But I would say it was fine, but honestly, it just feels off to what I did. But overall, I think I did really well with that, and even for the clouds as well. I still like how consistent I was with it, even though it doesn't add anything to it correlated. If you kind of agree with me on that or not, but yeah, I would say it's fine. Lastly, it's just the clown. Like I said, it's just I really like the lighting of it and the shadows. So yeah, I would say I did really well with that. The next one that we just did a grayscale of either a subject or even like going taking a picture of landscapes or whatever, just redoing it. And then we just did it like sketching it out. And then we just did like a value grayscale of it. So we did like black and white. And then the finalize is the color. So this is the progress that I did for my my reference photo, which you're going to see in the next one, as you're going to see from right here. Um, this is what I just did. I began testing out like warm and I just play around with some of the layers. Like I said, just doing like warm, cool values though. So it kind of like matches like the drawer, the Xbox, and the wall. Just kind of like match it, but I still kept the buttons and the stuff. still the same without like making it not feel overwhelmed. But I was like digging into the other two, like as you see right here with, you see right there. So yeah, I was digging into a little bit more of that, but I was trying to do like green, like for like Xbox theme, because green is for Xbox most likely. So I was kind of like play around with some of them, and I would say overall just did fine with that. And this is what my final results is. You're gonna see from right here. From right here, let me just kind of zoom in. Sorry if I can't, but I'll actually just go like right here. Wise, I would say yeah, right there. Wish I kind of just not try to overpower the green background. Helped it a lot, and even like with the console itself as well. It even making the buttons a lot more pop, which I really like how I actually kept it more like consistent and really correlates on what the photo was. So I really like how I just did that right there. Okay, so and this is the sketch that I done, and this is the value scale. Um, and yeah, the next progress is what I have is the Illustrator presentation. So for my digital one, I did Neil Adams. So so I'll give him a brief information about him. So which you're gonna which I'm gonna be talking about. So you study his styles. He is big like for Marvel, Avengers, DC Comics on the way how he actually designed his creativity for the comics, which has really impacted uh, the fandom today. So he also studies for the anatomy, the lighting, the movement, which actually helps it more for the storytelling and makes it more realistic in his own way. So, during his career, he studied the school in Manhattan, which actually really helped and actually strengthened his abilities, which pursued his dream where he got to today. So, yeah. So, this is the stuff that I just have for it. This is from um, his early career, I believe. I would say this is Ben Casey. This is what he did. The Avengers. I really like how colorful it is, and also I like how he just did the Superman and Addy. I don't know if that was like a crossover or something like that, but I genuinely really love how detailed and just the simplicity on how he did his style, making it more realistic on what I wanted to do, sort of. But to gain kind of this reference of what I study from. Okay, so for my mood board, it's still the same thing like I did for my other class, the same thing. So it's like the story, but this is what I did. I did it on a video game, which is basically it's called Dragon Clangs, which is basically almost like a mix of like Minecraft, like medieval game, that kind of base kind of thing. So I did it off of that sort of way. So it's just only about like dragons and stuff, trying to fight like an evil wizard. Yeah, it is. So what I did some layouts, some kind of like the same, like fire, ice, the swamp, uh, greens and stuff. So I actually gained some reference to doing different types of swords, armors, wands, gems, coins, and I did like different types of dragons, like different elements and stuff, and even different enemies. So I don't want to just copy the same verbatim though, but obviously I really like the style and the consistency on what I wanted to do for this game. So yeah. So the character's design I actually did was Ethan Orzel and the Mage Mentor. So the Mage Mentor is helping Ethan, which is the youngster mage guy or something like that, the adventure, let me just put it like that, is helping to stop the evil wizard from taking over the world. So, what I did, I just did different types of silhouettes, different positionings and stuff. So, I just honestly went with some my favorite stuff. I really like how I did even for the action pose for the third one. The mage mentor just like holding the book. He honestly doesn't even look like he's holding the book. He almost like he's going like this. The way if you see me like doing it like that, that's what it feels like. He doesn't like holding a book. It's like he's doing like with the palm of his hand. Um, and I did like Orson like that, like floating, like levitating. So I really like how I did that. So I just went along with these positions. So I just actually did that from right here. So try to sketch them out like in line, and then I did it digitally. So I really love how I actually did the contrast with some of them. So what I did the gradients for the colors that I done, like the lighting and stuff. So which actually matched it pretty well. The only issue that I had with the mage is just only like with the orb with the staff right there. And even the other one that my instructor has pointed out, I could have used Orzel skin, like maybe like a almost like a zombified vampire style that I should have done, which I strongly agree, which I could have done instead of just making him look more like human. But overall, I really love how these turn out, and I really love how I actually executed even more. Like the patches and the stitches, like he got like his clothes are all beaten up. Next are the props and the objects. So here are my props. I did the flame sword, Ethan's bag, the Mage Book of Spells. So I honestly went along with the Mage Book of Spells. I thought it would have been very playful and colorful on how I did it. So I was like, you know what? I kind of went along with it. That was kind of like my favorite one. So I just used some colors for that. I use like more mythical and magical, like it was. So yeah, I love how I use that. But the issue that I had, just the shadowing and stuff, just like the way I kind of like stroked it with the page. I think that's pretty much it. But overall, I really like how I did more details. Like I said, just almost like making it a bit more cartoony. Next is the environment layout. So the three that I just did I did the Greenland showcasing like the castle. I did the volcanic environment, and I just did like an Arctic environment. So the other one that I strongly just went along with is the Greenlands one. So I play around with the value scales and stuff. So I still kept it a little bit simple, but the issues I had with were most likely the trees, and I would say just like some of the pathways here in there. But after that, just showing the, I would say the third one right here, I'm gonna actually just make it bigger to show you all. So, because I want to show how detailed it was. Like I said, I'm just going to point out some of the issues that I had before I jump into a bit of positives. I like how I just, um, I like how I just actually executed the sky like this morning, like the sun is rising up. Um, I would say I really like how I just did the sunlight beaming right through the hills and the clouds. I just actually did the opacity for the clouds, so this makes it a lot more clearer that way. This is like a different one, but this is showing like the sunlights. The other one that I actually finished, like for my finished one, I did it without it. The reason why I did this is because I wasn't too sure if it's going to distract this piece overall. So I just did it for this one for my final because I thought this would be really interesting to use. And I also did that for the towel screen, which you're going to see uh, moving forward. Um, yeah, the issues that I have with it, I think some of my classmates mostly pointed out are just the outlines, which I could have just not used right there. So, and I would say right there with the opacity, I did the circular one, which is almost look like glass, almost like ice, the way it looks. I would say other than that, I would say everything looks all fine to me. But like I said, I I was pretty proud of how it turned out in the end. Okay, next is the animation process. So I tried to take my time to literally focus on what my peers and my instructor has to say. So I just need for like advice on how I wanted to do it moving forward to make it more successfully better. Sorry if it's like a little bit simpler as it was. So I'm just going to pull up the animation process. So here you go. Oh, here you go. You see it right here. Oh, I should have done the. Yeah, that's how quick it was. My bad. But I kind of like how I did it pretty quick and all that. That's all it was. Okay. Next is the title screen and logo. I did the logo, which is like more medieval, but I really like how I just did the red to make it pop and the orange for the outline. I just did like the tail as well. So I just kind of did like that fiery theme that I was going for, and I did like a diamond sword right underneath it. So I just add something to it. And I also did the title screen showing Ethan with the sword as well. And I would say, yeah, this looks really nice on how this turned out in the end. So, yeah. The conclusion, from what I learned from this semester, I would say I learned overall how it actually helps me grow, like like the other illustration class. I would say it actually improved me a lot, um, helping me gain more as an illustrator and as a graphic designer, helping me more gaining more improvements moving forward into my next portfolio review attempt for next year, and hopefully just get into the program. So you guys wish me luck. Like I said, thank you for the amazing semester, guys. I really appreciate the feedback and the support that you guys given me, and hope to see you guys if I have you guys in my next classes for next semester or not. But I really appreciate the support throughout.